I would like to talk today about civil liberties. Chapter 9, Civil Liberties. In this chapter, we delve deeply into the concept of civil liberties, which represent fundamental rights and freedoms guaranteed to individuals, typically outlined in a country's constitution or through judicial interpretations. In the United States, civil liberties are primarily encapsulated within the Bill of Rights, which are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Civil liberties serve as limitations placed upon the government, preventing it from intruding unnecessarily into individuals' lives. These protections ensure citizens can freely exercise personal freedoms without fear of unjust government interference. The First Amendment is perhaps the most revered among these liberties, guaranteeing freedoms concerning religion, expression, assembly, and the right to petition the government. Freedom of religion prevents the government from establishing a state religion and protects the individual's right to practice any religion or none at all. Freedom of speech and press, meanwhile, enables open public discourse, a cornerstone of democracy. However, these freedoms are not absolute. Certain limitations apply, notably in cases involving slander, libel, obscenity, or threats to national security. The Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, has been a contentious issue in contemporary politics, balancing individual rights with collective security. Courts and legislatures continually grapple with the scope and limits of this liberty. Civil liberties also include procedural rights, particularly prominent in the Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, and Eighth Amendments. The Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures, requiring law enforcement to obtain warrants based on probable cause. This amendment is crucial in maintaining privacy and ensuring that government surveillance and investigative procedures respect individual autonomy. The Fifth Amendment provides multiple protections, including the right against self-incrimination, famously known as the Miranda rights, the prohibition of double jeopardy, being tried twice for the same crime, and the guarantee of due process of law. These rights form the bedrock of a fair judicial system, ensuring individuals are treated justly and transparently by government authorities. The Sixth Amendment further reinforces procedural fairness, guaranteeing the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury, the right to be informed of charges, and the right to legal counsel. These rights collectively ensure the accused have adequate opportunity and resources to defend themselves in court. The Eighth Amendment prohibits excessive bail, fines, and cruel and unusual punishment. Interpretations of this amendment have evolved significantly, especially concerning capital punishment and conditions within prisons. Throughout American history, civil liberties have undergone various expansions and contractions, depending on the socio-political climate. During times of war or national emergencies, such as the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II or the heightened surveillance following 9/11, civil liberties have often faced substantial challenges and debates. Judicial review, the power of courts to interpret the Constitution and invalidate laws or executive actions conflicting with constitutional principles, is pivotal in safeguarding civil liberties. Landmark Supreme Court cases such as Marbury v. Madison, Miranda v. Arizona, and Roe v. Wade have dramatically shaped the scope and protection of civil liberties. In modern America, civil liberties continue to evolve, influenced by changing societal norms, technology advancements, and emerging legal interpretations. Issues such as digital privacy, surveillance technology, and freedom of expression in the digital age present new challenges for courts and policymakers. Understanding civil liberties requires continual engagement with the principles of freedom, security, and justice. Maintaining a robust democracy depends fundamentally on protecting these individual liberties against governmental overreach, thereby preserving the constitutional ideals upon which the United States was founded. It is important to differentiate between civil rights and civil liberties. In understanding the concepts central to American democracy, one often encounters two pivotal yet distinct ideas: civil liberties and civil rights. While these terms are frequently used interchangeably, their meanings, origins, and implications differ significantly. Civil liberties are essentially individual freedoms protected explicitly from government intrusion or interference. Imagine a shield that citizens carry to protect their personal freedoms from governmental power. These liberties are primarily enshrined in the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. For example, freedom of speech is a foundational civil liberty, meaning the government cannot silence citizens for voicing their opinions, even when those opinions are unpopular. Similarly, freedom of religion ensures individuals can practice their chosen faith, or no faith at all, without government-imposed restrictions. Other critical civil liberties include the freedom of the press, the right to privacy, protecting citizens from unwarranted surveillance or searches, and various due process protections, such as the right to a fair trial, the right to remain silent, and protection against cruel and unusual punishments. Thus, civil liberties form a protective barrier around individual autonomy, limiting governmental reach into personal lives. In contrast, civil rights focus on ensuring that all individuals receive equal treatment under the law and are shielded from discrimination, whether that discrimination arises from governmental or private sources. Civil rights are anchored in the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment and expanded through federal laws like the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. For example, civil rights guarantee that individuals cannot be denied employment, housing, education, or the right to vote based on characteristics such as race, gender, age, religion, or disability. In essence, civil rights strive for fairness and equality, ensuring each person has the same legal standing and opportunities as others, regardless of inherent differences. To further illustrate, imagine a newspaper seeking to publish an article critical of the government. If authorities tried to censor or suppress the paper, this would violate civil liberties, specifically freedom of the press. Conversely, if a private company refused to hire someone because of their race or gender, it would be violating civil rights, as it denies equal opportunities based on discriminatory reasons. In summary, civil liberties can be thought of as freedoms from government intrusion, whereas civil rights represent freedoms to equal treatment and fairness, protected against discrimination from both governmental and private entities. Together, these two fundamental principles provide the framework upon which American democracy is built, ensuring individual autonomy and equal justice for all.